recovery is really important, and obviously everybody's a bit scared of overdoing it and overtraining, because we hear so many bad stories about people having to stop and take long periods of time off, and most endurance athletes are very motivated to train, and also feel like they're being soft if they don't train. So how do you decide if you should take a day off, even though it might be unscheduled, and you might end up missing what you consider to be quite an important training session? Obviously, if you're missing lots of training sessions, then you need to think about what's wrong. You need to take a step back. Are you really tired? Are you being soft? If you're really tired, then you need to step back and see, well, is my training plan correct? Should I have a rethink? Do I need more rest in the week? Or do I just need to take a step back to basics to develop a bit of a routine? But that's not what we're really talking about here. It's whether to take the odd day off and how to deal with taking the odd days off to develop your plan and improve your training plan sort of week on week. Make small adjustments according to these patterns that might arise. So what you can do is you can measure your heart rate variability, your resting heart rate, and that type of thing. And also you can fill in questionnaires that a lot of the applications have nowadays. Most of the athletes we work with use a tool called HRV for training, and that links with Training Peaks, so you can start to spot trends in that. And it also has a lot of subjective questions in there. And you can choose which questions you want to answer. So if you could have a massive list of questions you can fill in every morning, but if you always answer average for them, then it's not really of any meaning. So it's better to choose a few questions that mean something to you. And it might be that you just do your heart rate variability, and you measure your resting heart rate, and what's your overall feeling for today, and use those three pieces of information. You've got a subjective value, and you've got a couple of reasonably objective values, and you can use them to make a decision. What we found is that the daily advice, although obviously it's getting better as the algorithms improve, isn't particularly useful. You can quite often get told not to train on a particular day, and then go out and do the training session and it's a really good one, or you can quite often get told that you're in great shape and you should go out and you have a really crap session and it doesn't work for you. So you just have to take it along with your subjective feelings and see how it goes. I mean, the thing with heart rate variability is it is quite variable, and you can often take if you have a reading that says oh, you shouldn't train today, you can often take another reading immediately after and you'll get a different value. It's quite sensitive to, if you swallow, for instance, you can change the variability, or if you sigh, or if you cough or something like that, that can change the reading. So you have to be a bit careful. Even if you change the way you think, you can change the value. If you start thinking a bit excessively and you get stressed, then that'll change your heart rate variability. What I normally recommend, if an athlete sends me a message and says, oh, John, what do you think I should do? Do you think I should train today, or do you think I should shift the session to tomorrow? So then I would normally take two approaches. I would either say, well, why don't you go out and see how it goes? If after 10 to 20 minutes it's not happening, or if you're doing the first interval of an interval session, you're not able to hit the powers or the heart rate or the pace zones that you're aiming for, then it's probably better to just pack it in and go home and either try it the next day or skip it completely and move on. Because there's no point if it's a high intensity training session, there's no point doing it at a mediocre level. In most cases, it's much better to just say, right, it's not working, it's not happening today, and that often happens, that can happen, and move on. The other thing I might say is, well, if I've spotted a trend and I'm starting to get alarm bells are starting to ring, I might think, well, actually you'd be better off taking a day off, and I was thinking of suggesting that to you anyway. So then I would say, well, just skip it, and sometimes they might go out and do the session anyway, and sometimes it can turn out to be good, and sometimes they just skip the session and they're just relieved for somebody to give them permission to take a day off. The other way that this can work is by looking at the trends of this. So for instance, after a few weeks, what you might find is that you're always skipping a training session on a Thursday, or you always feel tired on a Thursday. And if that's the case, then it might be better to either have a planned rest day on the Thursday, or it might be better to think about, well, what am I doing in the run-up to Thursday? If Thursday's one of my main training days, if I've got this is a window of opportunity to do some training because of other commitments, then how am I going to reschedule my week to make sure that I don't feel bad on Thursdays? You think about what's causing this tiredness and what's causing you to skip these training sessions. And by doing that, then you can adjust your week so that your training's a bit more optimal. And then you sort of move forward to a better plan and therefore better fitness and better fitness gains, and you progress much faster and get towards your goals a lot better. If you notice accumulated fatigue over a period of weeks, it's often good to have an unloading week. So maybe every third week or every fourth week you have an easy week. So you do 2 hard weeks, 1 easy week, or 3 hard weeks and 1 easy week. And if what you're finding is if you're on a 4-week schedule whereby you're doing 3 weeks hard, 1 week easy, that every third week you're really struggling, it might be better to switch to a 2 weeks hard, 1 week easy schedule, or 2 weeks hard, 1 week easy, 3 weeks hard, 1 week easy, something else that gives you a little bit more recovery, or just make that build a little bit more gradual and have a like hard, medium, hard type weekly schedule, so that you then can last the 3 weeks that you want to do your build period over, and then get to that easier week within according to the plan. Another thing where you could look at it, and I might be tempted to look at it this way, is that if you're reaching the end of your third week of your 3-week block, and then you're coming up to an easy week, and you're feeling tired on a Thursday and struggling to do the session, you could skip it because you're supposed to be getting tired at that stage, and it might be a good sign. It might be a sign that things are working properly for you, and according to plan. It's just that you're a little bit more tired than you'd planned, but you're still getting the adaptation. Get out for an easy ride or something like that, or just push through that session because you know you've only got a couple of days before you get to the end of the week, and then you've got your rest week. So you could take that as a sign that things are working properly for you. So I hope these ideas are useful to you. Please subscribe and like if you find this useful, and I'd love to hear what you think, so please make some comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.